Okay, so we're starting with Shaman. And the trick to Shaman in the Taverns of Time is to have at least one Masters of Reality. You don't want too many Masters of Reality. No, I'm sorry. You want as many Masters of Reality as you want. I'm not explaining that well. But then you want to use them correctly. So we've seen a lot of people who use their Masters of Reality as like a weird. Um, I don't really know how to put it. They use it as like a weird just 6 drop. And it's not a 6 drop, okay? It's one of the best cards ever printed in the game. It does amazing things, ridiculous things, and you don't ever want to drop it on turn 6 unless you have like a coin 1 drop or you have like 3 taunts out. But yes, its body gives you tempo, but its ability gives you wins. So you don't know how to use it until at least turn 7 if you have a 1 drop. I don't like to use it until turn 8 so that we have the hero power. Turn 10 with 10 mana is even better. It's like that's at the top of its game. So that's what you're looking for with the Masters of Reality. Now, the other exclusive Shaman card is the Stasis Elemental. Now, I was just hearing a couple days ago, I haven't read anything about it, but maybe it's true. Obviously, Blizzard doesn't like to tell us these things. But apparently, they rebucketed the Taverns of Time cards, which is great for things like the Dreamer, which is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the Masters of Reality, which is also ridiculous. Hopefully, it doesn't mess up the Shaman win rate too much because, like I said, we're going for those high wins. So, come on, Shamans. But from what I understand, the new bucket they put the Stasis Elemental in with the Masters of Reality. So it seems like the Stasis Elemental is going to be passed over more often. If they put it in a higher bucket, then we're not going to pick it as much, right? Because it's not the greatest card in the world. It's fine, but it's definitely not the greatest card. And I think, even though I like Possibility Seeker, when this is your first couple picks, we're going to take the Giant. An 8/8 that late game is free, gives you so much board pressure, it's pretty ridiculous. I actually really like Earth and Might and Bloodlust depending on the situation, but Fungalmancer, just as far as a blind pick, is the strongest of the three. It's going to set you up for a way better situation. I already picked an 8/8 that's way great late game. If I had more ideas of what would happen here, then I would probably pick the Sea Giant. But the Chain Gang is a great one, especially if we get a Masters of Reality. It's perfect for that turn 10 like I'm talking about. Turn 10 Masters of Reality, 2 6 drops is like the best thing you could possibly do. 6 is a pretty good value. I mean, there's 1/1/1, but there's also some great uh, usable minions, right? Like the 4/2 charge, the auctioneer, all sorts of tech, and then there's just some fat bodies. Lots of 6/6s in there. You're looking at a very good value for 6 if you get them from the Chain Gang. So Stormwind Champion is a little bit not as good as the Silver Sword, but it surprisingly wins you a bunch of games when you get it out there. It makes all of your subpar minions amazing, including totems. This is really good in Shaman because the 0/2 totems a lot of the time can't help you unless they get a little bit of help themselves. So I think the Stormwind Champion is probably the best choice here. I don't love passing up the second Earthen Might, but what we're going for is as many wins as possible, which means we're going for a little bit less risk slash reward. We're going a little bit more vanilla, and we're going with things that have their value just printed right on there, right? So a perfect example here is last week and the week before I would have picked the Anomaly. We're in the Taverns of Time. I would love to get the Elemental with the value, right? But I've got to take the one that I know for sure is going to help us win the game. Just like Dragon Slayer here. Dragon Slayer is insane in the Taverns of Time. I actually don't love pirates because so often they're just crab food, though we do need a 2 drop. And it's really hard to pass up another Bloodlust. But Bloodlust is less. Okay, so Bloodlust is wins you the game in more situations than either of these do, but it also loses you the game in more situations than these guys do. So I'm talking about high risk, high reward again. And I've got to go with the slug. I'm not happy about it, but that's what I got to do. I got to have a charged Devil's Horn deck. Okay, so our curve, there's a lot of orange up here. But I was watching the Grinning Goat this weekend, and I was watching ADW CTA. Forgot what he stands for, what those initials stand for, but he was playing Shaman, and the way that he drafted was awesome. He explained that you don't need that many 2-drops in Shaman, that you want a lot more 3/4. You're trying to hit the hero power. It clogs up a Shaman deck a lot more than you would think, having a lot of 2-drops. So I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna take his advice. That's the whole point watching Twitch streamers, right? If you're not watching me, then you might as well watch somebody else who's probably better at the game and has very, very strong advice. And I think I have to take a stasis element dragon. Now I wish I had a volcano, but I think it's probably the best. Now Swift Messenger is really good, but I think I'm going to take the dragon and have that be my last thing up here and do another chain gang. That's a really solid 4 we've got going on. The Banshee can be amazing, but I think I need another 3-drop, a solid 3-drop we just play. Now this goes back to making the exact right call. So this guy early on, we've got 10 cards already. I had to pass up 2 Earthen Mites. If I end up with one, I obviously want some elementals to target. And I have none. We only have 1 Overload card, but I'd like to get a Crushing Hands. But I'd also like to get a Hex, and I think those are in the same bucket. So if it came down to those two at this point, I would take the Hex. So maybe I take the Pixie. But we're never using the ability unless it's like super dire. I mean, it might come in handy in Shaman, right? So many times you're late game and you're like, oh, I just need the taunt totem to protect me for 1 turn. So maybe top decking this would help. I'm going to take the Unbound Elemental. I'm not 100% sure it's right. Oh no. Okay, so the Masters of Reality is also in the same bucket as the Hex, and we've got to take at least 1 Masters of Reality. We've got to have it. Witch's Apprentice is an easy pick there. I usually end up passing the Feral Spirits, and I think that a couple of you guys have proven to me time and time again that that's a mistake. So I think I'm going to take the Feral Spirits, especially with the Unbound Elemental. Now you're not technically looking for synergy with the Unbound Elemental. It's it's there. it's not like you want an Overload deck, but it's there. And I don't want 2-drops. I was just talking about that. So I think I'm gonna pass up on the Blazing Invocation. We've seen it miss a lot, so we're gonna take the Feral Spirits and see what we can get out of that. And I said no 2-drops, so we're gonna stick with our word and keep going. Now, I think that probably the Axe is an exception to the 2-drops. And we've got a bunch of taunt here. What do we have for actual 3-drops? So the Dragon Slayer, you don't always want to play on turn 3 because of the value it gets. Now, sometimes you play it for tempo if it's your only 3-drop, but if your deck's big enough, full enough of 3-drops, then you're giving yourself options. So we're going to give ourselves 1 more 3-drop there. Oh, yay! Chromie! Oh man, I didn't even get a chance to complain about it yet, but we are on 20 runs without Chromie. I can't believe we finally got a Chromie. Oh man, my heart swells. My heart swells for Chromie. This is where we definitely get those wins. And a Crushing Hands. We've already got 2 chain gangs. Okay, so I was saying I don't need that many more fatties, but the Violent Worm definitely fits in this deck. But I think I need 1 more Unbound, 1 more 3-drop. Definitely a Possibility Seeker with Chromie. So the Possibility Seeker is amazing with Chromie and the Timebound Giants. As far as the synergy built in to the random, the Taverns of Time cards, those are it. Those are where it's at. So our 4-drops just filled out, and I really want a Silence. So I always say we want 1 Silence. Now we've got it. 1 Poison. We've got that. And then what we need is card draw. We need lots of card draw with our Chromie. Okay, so the Crushing Hand is part of the Hex bucket, which is also part of the Masters of Reality bucket. So we got pretty lucky with a couple of those. I really like, this is my favorite poison, but I've already got the Gastropod to try to play with. Okay, so what are we looking at as far as actual minion strength here? So we've already got one Witch's Apprentice, but they're great, especially with Masters of Reality, especially just to keep us alive. This is one of my favorite cards in the game. This guy and Babbling Book, they're just so classic. But we got our Chromie, so we need to just pull out some wins here. None of these draw us cards. This one could get us a Farsight. It's not likely, but it's possible. What do we have for 6 drops? So we're not playing the Masters of Reality on turn 6. I love to hold on to it until at least turn 8 so we can hero power. Maybe 7 if we've got the Witch's Apprentice or the coin or something like that. So I think we need the Argent Commander because it's an actual body on turn 6, like just a classic body. So we've got Crushing Hands. We don't have anything that can go face as far as spells. But we also don't have the greatest 3s. I think we need another 3, right? So our 5s are like fire. There's only 2 though. They're good 5s though. I like them. So maybe I do need one more 5? I need one more 3 more. We'll get a better 5. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay, so we'll take that too. This guy's amazing for our deck with the Masters of Reality, with the Servant. Yeah, we totally hit the nail on the head with that one. We've got to take the other Possibility Seeker here. We've got Chromie going, and we've got the giant, the Timebound giant. We could easily seek into some amazing stuff here. Okay, one more 3-drop, and then the last one. Oh man. Oh no. Okay, so are we more likely to get wins if we pick a second Master of Realities or a first Volcano? So the first Volcano works perfectly with Stasis Dragon. I don't think we need it. We've got a bunch of 3-drops. We've got a bunch of Taunt. I'm going to go with the second Masters of Reality. Okay. We are definitely going to do this time. I'm feeling great. I am feeling like this is at least 10 win. Chromie, our homie. And 2 Masters of Realities. Alright. So, to go over it real quick. We got our Silence. It's a spell. So you can't target membrane stuff, but we got Earthshock and we've got Hex. We did not get the best poison, but we've got one, the Gastropod. We've got a really sick curve, an amazing curve. 2 Masters of Reality, Chromie, 2 Possibility Seekers to get us there. We've got to be careful about AoEs. We do not want to set ourselves up for too big of a board because we don't have that much. We have great late game, but not value late game, right? So the Devilsaur maybe gets us 2 minions, but he doesn't turn the game around on his own. He's not a Pyroblast to the face. He's not a Flame Strike. All right, I think we can at least get 9 with this deck. Let's do it.